Yesterday, the streets of Jerusalem were filled with black coats and banners proclaiming defiance. Not against an enemy, not against enemy's army, not against injustice, but against the very duty that sustains the Jewish people, the defense of life. It was called a Million Men March, a demonstration of faith. But I could not help thinking, faith in what? Certainly not in the Torah of Moses, who stood before Israel and said, "Shall your brothers go to war while you sit here?" When tens of thousands of Jews marched against defending the Jewish state, carrying signs that called the Israel Defense Forces a war against Torah, we must say clearly, this is not faith. This is the betrayal. Betrayal of Torah, betrayal of the peoplehood, betrayal of the covenant itself. The Torah does not glorify war. It sanctifies life. But it also commands that when life is threatened, every Jew stands up to defend it. In Deuteronomy, Moses tells the people, when you go out to war against your enemies, not if, but when. The duty is collective, binding, sacred. The Mishneh Torah of Maimonides defines Milchemet Mitzvah, a commanded war, as one fought in defense of Israel or to rescue Jews in danger. In such a war, he writes, everyone goes out. Everyone goes out, even a groom from his chamber and a bride from her canopy. This is not a metaphor. It is Jewish law. And by that law, the defense of Israel after October 7 is not optional. It is a mitzvah of the highest order. Yet, yesterday's marchers shouted the opposite. They called military service a sin, the IDF an oppressor, the state of Israel a heresy. Some even compared a draft-evading yeshiva student to an abducted hostage in Gaza, as if Israel itself had kidnapped him. That comparison is not only grotesque, it reveals a complete inversion of Torah values. Those who risk their lives to protect widows, orphans, and defenseless are accused of persecuting Torah, while those who refuse to lift a finger for the safety of their brothers claim to be its guardians. In that moment, the words of the prophet Isaiah echo, "Your princes are rebels and companions of thieves." Everyone loves bribes and pursues rewards. They do not defend the orphans. The orphan today is the soldier's widow, the fatherless child of the fallen. Who defends them, if not the army of Israel? 77 years ago, David Ben-Gurion made what he believed was a compassionate concession. 400 yeshiva students would be exempted from service to rebuild the Torah, to rebuild the Torah world destroyed in the Holocaust. It was a noble intention, but what began as mercy became manipulation. The number grew from 400 to tens of thousands. The exemption became entitlement. The privilege became policy, and a temporary bridge became a wall separating one part of the nation from another. Today, that wall has turned into a fortress of self-righteousness. The sons of those who were once protected by the sacrifices of others now denounce those sacrifices as impure. They receive protection, but deny the protector. They take the subsidies, but curse the state that provides them. That is not continuity. It is corruption. Corruption of morality, of spirit of our people, corruption of the history of our people. What theology teaches a man that it is holier to let another die in his place? What kind of a Torah says, let others protect me so that I may study? The rabbis of Talmud did not live in ivory towers. They knew war, exile, hunger. Rabbi Akiva blessed Bar Kokhba, rightly or wrongly, as a potential Messiah because he fought for the freedom of Israel. The sages of Maccabean era allowed themselves to be persuaded to continue fighting on Shabbat in self-defense, to study Torah while despising those who make the study possible is not holiness. It is living as moral parasites wrapped in black cloth. And when leaders proclaim, better to die as a Jew than to live as a Zionist, they're not quoting Moses. They're quoting the spirit of golden calf, worshipping separation while the camp burns below. The rapture became unbearable after October 7. As Israel buried its dead and prayed for the captives, the ultra-Orthodox neighborhoods remained eerily quiet. No national flags, no public prayers for the soldiers, no mourning ceremonies. When an entire community refuses to share the nation's grief, it declares itself outside of covenant of empathy. The Torah commands, you shall not stand idly by the blood of your neighbor. Yet, to march against army service, the very act that prevents more bloodshed, is precisely to stand idly by. It is to wash one's hands of responsibility while quoting scripture with clean fingers. How do these movements justify such moral blindness? By wrapping it in the language of persecution. They say, we are the true victims. The state hates Torah. The army fights religion. This is psychological projection raised to dogma. In reality, the ultra-Orthodox are among the most politically powerful sectors in Israel, controlling vast budgets and shaping coalition policy. Yet they speak as if they are an oppressed remnant hiding from Pharaoh. The Torah warns against this self-deception. In Deuteronomy, Moses says, lest you forget the Lord your God when you have eaten and are full and have built good houses and live in them. Prosperity without gratitude breeds arrogance, and arrogance is blind. The paradox is that these same parties who denounce the state's laws as heretical are perfectly willing to sit in its parliament, collect its salaries, and decide its budgets. They reject the legitimacy of the law, accept the law that allocates their funding. They deny the authority of the army. They don't accept the soldiers who protect their neighborhoods. They call the secular majority idolaters, but demand that they pay taxes so they can eat. Democracy becomes a tool, not a value. But a democracy that allows its own destruction through cynicism must eventually correct itself or collapse. So Israel stands between hammer and anvil. On one side, a population that enjoys state protection, while refusing to share the burden. On the other, a frustrated majority tempted to withdraw democratic rights in the name of equality. Both choices are deadly. Strip them of citizenship, and you destroy democracy. Leave the status quo untouched, and you destroy justice. What then can be done? The answer must begin not with the punishment, but with truth. Truth spoken aloud even when it offends. The Torah itself offers a method. Tikkun. Repair through honesty and action. We cannot heal a wound by denying its infection. That means core education in every state-funded school, Hebrew, math, history, and civic ethics, so that no child grows up ignorant of the people whose taxes sustain them. Civil service alternatives for those who cannot serve, who are not physically able to serve in the army. They should serve in hospitals, schools, rescue units, so that everyone contributes to the collective good. Full budget transparency to end the culture of entitlement hidden behind religious slogans. These are not secular demands, they are Torah demands. The book of Deuteronomy repeats the word justice more than any other ethical concept. Justice requires participation. Naturally, those who are afraid to serve should be known as cowards, and they should not be taken into Israel Defense Force. To the rabbis who led yesterday's march, you are misleading your flocks. You have traded Moses for populism, faith, and fear. You have traded Torah for personal power and benefits. The Torah you hold in your hands commands the defense of life, the sanctity of work, the care for the widow, the orphans, and the stranger. None of this can be fulfilled by isolation behind walls of dependency. If you truly believe in Torah, teach your sons that the soldier at the border is also their brother, that his blood is not inferior to theirs, that his sacrifice is not heresy, but holiness. The Talmud calls those who save a single life as if they saved an entire world. Every medic who rescues the wounded, every pilot who prevents another massacre, every reservist who leaves his children at home to protect someone else's, these are the true soldiers of God. To despise them is to despise the Creator, who commanded us to guard life. We stand at a crossroads. Either we continue to allow false piety to hollow out the nation's moral core, or we reclaim the Torah from those who use it as weapon against its own commandments. The Torah that begins with "Let there be light" cannot coexist with the darkness of indifference. The covenant of Sinai was not given to a sect. It was given to people, our people. The phrase "all Israel are responsible for one another" is not poetry. It is constitutional law of the Jewish soul. The million who marched yesterday declared, "We will not serve." Let us answer with calm strength. We will serve our people, Israel, and our God. Let us remember that the true desecration of the name is not fighting in defense of life, but refusing to defend it. The Torah's greatest betrayal is not by those who doubt, but by those who quote the scriptures while ignoring their heart. In every generation, Jews have had to choose between comfort and covenant. The covenant always requires courage. May we, the inheritors of that covenant, have the courage to defend it with our words, our deeds, and when necessary, with our very lives.